So, on a high inward slash to the face, I simply move back and make contact with his limb, with my weapon. A high inward backhand is the same. I stay behind the blade, I make contact here, and I drag down. If you want to see this from the other side, attack me with a left-handed backhand swing. Here is where I stop it, okay? I put my hand up just in case. The just in case part is, should that slice through, I'm still going to get hit. So I put up my hand as a support. So if that slices through, I still stop the wrist here, okay? Give me a mid-range slash. It's a bit lower. I'll still lean back, so even if I don't make contact, he misses. But if you see what happens, I'll make contact with his wrist. Backhand slash, here. Backhand slash with the other hand, here. That's how it works. Inward strike with that hand. Again, I just move back, and one more time, if you see what I do, I make contact across his limb. So at every stage for him, for the attacker, to make contact with me, he has to get past this. Downward stab, I simply get out of the way, but again, I make contact with his limb. Now, one-on-one, multiple attackers, that will work. I haven't spoke about the commitment of the attacker. Sure, if he's committed on hurting or killing you, he'll probably try to keep fighting, or other people will get involved, namely his backup, his friends. This is relevant in street robberies, muggings, situations like that, revenge attacks. But what else we're dealing with are the terrorist threat, a completely different level of commitment. The horrific events that occurred on September 11th at the World Trade Center in New York, at the Pentagon in Washington, and on the airline that went down in Pennsylvania, sent shockwaves around the world. Probably the biggest shock of all to come out of the September 11th attacks was the fact that it was knives and box cutters that were used. Now, could have all that damage really been brought on just by a knife or a box cutter? There was something else. It wasn't just the tool or the implement. It was the commitment of the attackers. It was a determination to be prepared to die to achieve their goal. And that is the determination or the commitment that we're up against. Someone prepared to die to achieve their goal. So believe me, these are last resort techniques. Should you retrieve a weapon, you better be prepared to use it to save your life or the life of others. Now for that, we're going to go into follow-ups. Follow-ups would be, if you just put that knife away for a moment, should you grab my wrist, have I retrieved this of this attacker? And there are other attackers with knives as well. Then to take him out of the equation, I need more than just a limb strike. I need to go to what I call a last resort technique. That would be a straight thrust. These are all traditional techniques I learned over a decade ago in the Philippines. Straight thrust. If you grab me with that hand, this comes out, takes the limb, straight thrust. If you have a knife and you go to attack me, I take the limb now and I go straight for a last resort technique. A finishing move, if you want. Backhand slash. Take it down, straight thrust. I'll go for the nearest target, then I go for the most fatal target. Mid-range inward. I take it here, straight thrust. A very short range of motion, out and in. Backhand. Nearest target, most fatal target. Inward. Nearest target, most fatal target. Overhand step. Out and in. Simple, effective. But just one more time. Just look at this. Is this considered reasonable force? Well, reasonable force is you can use as much force as is reasonable in the circumstances. That is the law. If the circumstances dictate that, for example, you're on an aeroplane and you've just avoided getting your throat cut, then that's reasonable force. If you're on an aeroplane and you have to take down or subdue any terrorist threat before you can fly a plane into any crucial target that they have in mind, then that is reasonable force. If you can save the life of yourself or thousands of other people, that is reasonable force. If you honestly and instinctively fear for your safety, and you have firm held belief that the force you use in those circumstances is reasonable, then it will be. So do what you need to do to survive. As a last resort, these are the techniques. So let me recap. Inward slash.